was talking about the Lions Gate and how we've had a lot of health issues in our family, and I know I see a lot of health issues for other people, and Eileen, and just a lot going on for people. And I've actually, oh, it's open until the 6th. Okay. Or I mean, till the 12th. So anyway, I've actually been pretty sick since Friday. And this morning, it's like, well, if I am thinking about what I deeply care to manifest, it is wellness in the world and love in the world. And I'm just so grateful that we have a community of people that gather together with that intention and intend to empower that ability and that heart and the love that we feel. And that is like what matters for me. That's what I can do in the world today. When we talk about be stable and stay stable, be kind, it is what we can do. And what we can do like this is gather, support, love, empower. And I believe that from this place, adding with Reiki in doing the empowerment, that vitality and vibrancy that Reiki adds to our life force, the colors that it adds to our life force. And regardless of our situation, Reiki will just come in and empower. And that we get to come here and be community. And what happens with that, through all of the support, the love, the empowerment, it leads to our personal ability to innovate and manifest in our lives from a higher level of consciousness. So we also know that we can live real lives, and that real lives have challenges. We can experience illness, tragedy, difficulty, financial challenge, every kind of challenge possible, trauma. So all different kinds of challenge that can seemingly get in the way and make it difficult to, even think about possibilities and what's next, as if that, I don't know. I think we always have a feeling like we're supposed to think about what's next. Or maybe that's me. I don't know, but I have that. So anyway, I'm just really grateful for our community, that this is what we do, and we do it together, and we show up and do the empowerment and the support. And this is the place then that we can go out. Our hearts are full. Our life forces are empowered. Reiki comes in and does that work for us. It helps us release the challenges. It actually helps them come in. And one of the things I love so much about how Reiki does the releasing is that we receive the life force and the empowerment and the consciousness in that light that envelops those challenges and lifts the burdens of them from us for us. And what we release is actually healed. In many modalities, we can see that things that are released, or techniques that are used to release like unwanted challenges, or obstacles or difficulties, injuries, trauma, all of the above. A lot of times those things are seen as something to cast out, or, put into a particular way or a particular thought form. And with Reiki, it's going to take it to a higher level of consciousness and heal it. Because so often the blocks that we have, the challenges we have to, say, manifestation or innovation or experiencing feeling empowered, sometimes when we feel disempowered, that Reiki energy can actually lift those burdens from us for us. And what that does is creates and reveals our own sovereignty. So we recognize our real truth inside. Many of the challenges that we experience actually come from somewhere else. Sometimes they were the way we were raised. Sometimes they're our current life situation. Sometimes they're our culture, our gender, our generation, our age, all of the above. And often the challenges have a history. So we may be carrying a burden that isn't really realistic that we can even heal it, because it may have a big enough history that it's beyond our scope of even memory. We can go back into ancestral histories or past life histories with some of these things. So what Reiki does in releasing those is actually lifts it into a higher consciousness and a way of thinking and a way of healing what we release all the way back to whatever the cause is, however far back it goes. But most importantly, it releases the burden of carrying it from us. Because oftentimes it's a bigger burden than we can carry. And oftentimes it's, just not even really ours to carry. So when it is released, our sovereignty is revealed. And also what Reiki does in the empowerment of how it works with us is by really going in and revealing our sovereignty, who we truly are. And also then in some of those same areas that we may have a history of disempowerment or challenge, we may have areas of gifts and talents and abilities and capabilities. And Reiki actually reveals those within us. It reveals that innate knowing and brings it more forward to the surface. And so that's always important to me to remember is I'm letting Reiki come through, because often, I think in my own personal world training and life training, I believe I have to do the hard work to make all of this above happen. I have to do everything right. I have to do it hard. I have to be diligent. And then I have to really earn it, or maybe even deserve it. And so what I've learned from Reiki in my 20 some odd year career with it is that what it's really trying to teach us is that it's already here within us and for us. And the Reiki energy reveals it. It reveals our innate life force. And it does that by us receiving the innate life force of Reiki energy itself, which is a creation force of energy, physical life force, existing life force. So if you think of life force energy and the earth energy, for instance, the earth energy is so extraordinarily creative and innovative, and the life force of it is empowered and strong and adaptive and inventive and all of the different qualities that human beings have and that we have in our human spirit. So Reiki helps us access that within us. In this circle and in my life and the way I like to think about things, the things we talk about, Robin and I and Danny and Reiki Lifestyle team and all of us and our classes, you guys in Next Step, you know that it's all so much the conversation that we have is then how do we apply all this principle to our daily life? How do we make it relevant and useful? Because that's where we all live. We're not living somewhere else. And there may be the times that we can take our energy and feel like we are somewhere else, or I even do this, we're still always inside. We can go inside and we can go somewhere else. And we do, we love to go to, Reiki equally takes us to spiritual realms of higher dimensions and higher thoughts. And so we love being able to do that. But mostly, most of us have to live in the real world every day. And so applying it is it's how do you apply it? How is it useful? So if I were to put it in a list, we've done a lot of work with thought forms, thought virus, thinking healthy, thinking ways that benefit you. There's applying a lot of those things. But really, like right now, for me, it's just receive it. That's the first step. Receive the energy. And receiving is one of the major steps in manifestation. So if you think of all of those like major human inventions, you have to receive that information, insight, inspiration, idea, the imagination, taking it into like an idea, and maybe the idea came from receiving, or maybe the idea came from being and then had to go into imagination and allow more receiving up in those fields of higher consciousness. And Reiki works through receiving. It's been one of my lifelong lessons is to teach myself to receive. Talk about one of my personal blocks. It's like, I just did not know how. That was not something that I had to actively train myself to receive. And I did that very consciously using Reiki. And I did that through the awareness that if I am only giving, I'm blocking half of the creation life force energy. We have to give and receive. They work together, they're balanced and need to be in a balance. And it's just a matter of being balanced because I receive more, actually allows me to give more. And particularly with Reiki energy, because as we receive the Reiki energy, it flows through us. And we no longer have to do all the output of our own life force. And this external source flows through us, empowers us as we receive it. And we're not the ones actually giving our own life force out. We're just simply inviting the life force to be empowered and to share with others, or however we're doing that in our lives. So how that has to do with manifestation is it's the first step. Allowing yourself, and I had to use Reiki energy to help me learn how to receive. I also used some personal skills with it, like I had to change my language so that I would often add the word receive into my conversation. So, oh, I received your phone call. I received your message. I'm listening back to myself in my memory as I'm thinking about that when I first started doing that. And that was, when I back and when we still had voice recorders, right? Is that what they were called? And go in and check your voice machine. And it was so innovative. And do you know what's so weird? I still have times I walk through the door after being gone and feel like I need to go check my voice recorder. You too, Joe? I can see you shaking your head. Yeah, so weird. It's like, what?
Yeah,
So,
I think answering machine, right? Is that what
answering machine, thank you. That's what it is. I knew I didn't have it right. Oh, so funny. But anyway, going back to the receiving, I would think, oh, I received that. Thank you. Or learn to receive a compliment. That was big work. Or receive a gift. Or here's the big one, receive help from others. That was a really big one. That one's still something I have to be thoughtful about, but it's really interesting with Reiki, and that's what we do with community like this is a place I feel really comfortable receiving with and helping with that process and remembering that through my daily life, how I apply this and what we all do here together today is in allowing the receiving of the energy we empower, the community we empower, all of the things that we do to receive that life force, that love, and that intention of wellness in the world for everything, people, the animals, the earth. And so in that receiving, that for me is the very first step to manifestation. Because Reiki will energy, when we receive it, will automatically do a lot of the releasing that we may even not even know we need, or are struggling to even get to the idea of releasing it. Reiki will come in and do that work, and then it will also empower and strengthen our sovereignty, our gifts, our talents, our creativity, clarity of mind, even though I don't feel very clear of mind right now. Um, it's always okay in this group, right? So yeah, exactly. So anyway, the energy itself will come in and do that for us. And it works through the energy of grace. And that was another one that took me a long time to get comfortable with the word grace. And I don't even know why anymore. I think it was, back to, I don't know. It was just like, I don't know what that is. So finally one day, I think Reiki was like, you need to learn about grace. And it started showing up in my sessions with other people who were natural, what it would be like, they just naturally were the essence of grace. They may not have known that about themselves or believed that about themselves, but their energy had that. So I had to really learn about what that meant. And I only know what I think it means today. And I learned one of these things at a Reiki retreat. And one of the people came to me after the gratitude ceremony and said that it was the first time that they realized that they could just receive forgiveness, that they didn't have to earn it or do anything for it, that they could just receive it. And they said through grace. And so I had to really think about that. Like, what did that mean? And it really impacted me because I didn't have a real good understanding of either concept. And that Reiki allowed us to just receive it. So it was another big lesson in receiving. And so from that time, and that was however many, years ago, maybe all the way back to 2012, maybe 10 years ago, maybe even longer. And anyway, from that point, I really realized I needed to use Reiki to investigate the real truth of grace beyond what my perception and belief was around it, and also what the external world definitions of it meant, or what I interpreted those to mean. And so, as I started to work with it, and it combined with receiving, and it combined with Reiki and my understanding of how Reiki energy works and how all this ties to manifestation and how it all applies to our daily life, is that it just does this work for us, which was another level of belief that I had to change. Big obstacle. Like, something could do that for me. Like, how does that work? So I had to really learn to receive so I could learn to do that. So anyway, that's my thoughts around manifestation and the first step. And so I think today in our invocation, let's really go into a depth of receiving, like saying yes to receiving and receiving grace and the life force and that light force. We talk about Reiki being life force. It's always so like it's a light force also. It empowers our light force. I feel stronger, like my light is stronger. You know how you see some of the kids too, it's like, boy, that is a shiny kid or a shiny person, or, sometimes all different things will be that way. But anyway, there's light force also. So let's receive the Reiki energy today for wherever you are in your life and whatever it is that you want to manifest. Simply allow yourself to receive and let it do the releasing and let it do the empowering, revealing your gifts, your talents, your abilities, your innovations, your imagination, ideas, intuition, instincts, all of the above, your human spirit.